9 steps to get rid of food guilt. In our current diet culture ridden society, we are constantly being bombarded with messages telling us that we shouldn't be eating this, or that we need to be detoxing, or that we need to be working out 8 hours a day, or like all these things. And this can lead to us developing a very unhealthy relationship with food where we feel guilty anytime we eat something that is not deemed healthy. And it's super crucial that you learn to get rid of this guilt around food, or else you're never going to be able to be truly satisfied with the meals that you are eating, and then it's going to take more food to satisfy you, and it's just going to be an endless cycle of you being unhappy, you eating foods that you don't even enjoy, and not even enjoying the foods that you do actually like. So it's time to get rid of the food guilt once and for all. So the first step that you need to do is to ditch the diet mentality. You need to realize that diets do not work. Diets will maybe make you lose weight, but you will gain all the weight back. They are not sustainable, they are not pleasurable, they are not healthy. You need to stop trying to go on different diets. And once you truly accept that, then that is when you can start to alleviate some of the guilt when it comes to eating foods. You need to accept that in the past, diets haven't worked, not because your lack of willpower, your lack of discipline, but just because they simply do not work for most of the population. So it's time to try a new way. So here's an actionable tip to take in order to start getting rid of diet culture. You need to delete any diet apps, get rid of your scale, unfollow any social media creators that get you stuck in the diet mentality, stop watching like documentaries or reading books about diets and diet culture, all of that. Get rid of it. And instead, surround yourself with positive information regarding nutrition. Step number 2, you need to challenge restrictive mindsets. It's really important that you start challenging the voices that you have in your head telling you that this food isn't good, or that you're gonna gain weight if you eat that, or that this is like not diet friendly food. Like all of these things, you need to start actively dismantling. Acknowledge that food should not be viewed through a lens of scarcity, but rather through one of abundance, and realize as well that there are no good or bad foods. They all exist on a spectrum, and there are only good or bad foods for certain situations. And sure, some foods may be more nutrient dense, and some foods may be ones that give you more pleasure, but they are all useful, they are all good, and they should all be a part of your diet. Talking yourself through all of these thoughts that you may have and trying to find counter arguments to them can be very helpful, and that can help you get to a kind of food neutrality zone where you eat food that you want, that you crave, and that makes you feel good, and there's no morality to any of that. So action point for this, you need to make a list of all of the foods that you've been avoiding, foods that are like your fear foods that you feel that you absolutely can't eat or else you lose control over them, and then you need to start implementing them in your diet little by little. And whenever you have negative thoughts while eating these foods, you need to counteract these thoughts with a positive thought, or more like science-backed thought, or just something that will help you stop having that like instant, I eat a food that I deem as bad, and then this negative feeling of guilt overwhelms me. And if you need more help with that, you can check out my video I made about letting go of fear foods right here or in the description. Step number 3, you need to start challenging food rules as well. So for instance, let's say that you tell yourself that you should never eat past 7 p.m. or else you will gain weight. Or if you tell yourself that you should never eat carbs or else you will gain weight. Now you need to look at these rules and ask yourself if they are based on your body's actual needs and preferences, which is fine. Let's say you skip breakfast because you're never hungry in the morning and you just don't like breakfast. That's okay then to skip breakfast. But if it's because you want to do intermittent fasting in order to lose weight and you're starving all morning, that's not okay. So you really need to look at these rules that you have and see if they actually stem from your personal preferences, what works for you, or if they are diet culture rules. And if they're diet culture rules, get rid of them. An action point for this one is you need to make a list of the rules that you currently have for yourself, and then take the time to really reflect and see if you are using that rule because of diet culture or if it's because it's something that really serves you. And if you need help to try to figure that out, you can check out my video I made on anti-diet food rules right here or in the description. Step number 4, you need to practice mindful eating. Mindful eating means being in tune with your hunger cues, with your body, and actually really connecting almost with the food that you are eating, making sure that you are appreciating fully without any distractions, that you are focusing on all of the different colors of the food and different flavors, textures, taste, all of that. And this will really help you find more satisfaction in your meals because you're going to be more present for them and you're going to have all this time to really deeply enjoy them and be satisfied. One action point for this is you need to pick one meal a day at least where you can commit to eating it without any distractions. So no phone, no TV, no nothing. You can talk with other people, that's fine, but just you still need moments where you are really appreciating the food, just focusing on the food and how it's making you feel. And then step number 5 along the same vein is you need to start practicing intuitive eating, and this involves really listening to your body's hunger and fullness cues and tuning in to your actual wants and needs and cravings for different types of foods. The goal with intuitive eating is that you're able to listen to your internal cues instead of listening to like all the outside rules and regulations telling you what, when, how you should eat. So an action point for that is you need to start using the hunger fullness scale that I'm going to put right here. So before every meal, you need to ask yourself where you are situated on that scale. If you feel like you are very hungry or not hungry at all, or like a little bit hungry, just locate yourself on that scale and then do the same thing after your meal and locate yourself on that scale. And you should try to stay within like the 3 to 8 range. So you shouldn't go hungrier than level 3, and then you shouldn't eat past like level 8. So try to stick to that for a little bit. That will really be helpful in learning to listen to your hunger cues more. Step 6, you need to start practicing gentle nutrition. And what that means in this situation at least is to turn your focus away from trying to micromanage every single nutrient, every single like time where you eat your meal, every single thing you're gonna put on your plate, the calories, whatever. Stop micromanaging that and instead turn to a way of eating that is a little bit more holistic and that takes into account what you like, what you don't like, what you are craving, what is going to make you feel good, what's going to give you energy, what's going to fuel you, all of these things. The thing about gentle nutrition is that it's kind of the intersection between healthy eating, focusing just on health, and eating like whatever you want with no rules, focusing on just like the pleasure of food. The goal is to find a way of eating that promotes and supports your health and your well-being while also being very flexible and adapted to your cravings and what you like, your different tastes, and of course like an intuitive way of eating. If you need a little bit more help with that, check out my gentle nutrition video right here or in the description. Number 7, you need to start learning to rediscover pleasure when it comes to food, because chances are if you are really ingrained in diet culture, you are not even enjoying the foods that you are eating anymore because diet culture has completely robbed you of that. So you need to relearn how to fully enjoy foods without having all this noise in your head when you're eating. Understand that food is not just fuel. It is fuel and energy, but that's not it. We're also human, and food is also a way for us to express different cultures and to celebrate and to build social connection and to find comfort. Food is all of that, and you can find pleasure in all of these things. So action point for that, you need to make it a point to enjoy a meal. Every day would be ideal, but you can start by like one big meal every week if you would rather do that, and find pure enjoyment, pure pleasure in that meal. So you're not eating that meal because it's healthy, you're not eating that meal because you have to or whatever. You're just eating this because you want to, and you want to experience that joy and that pleasure, satisfaction. Step number 8, you need to practice self-care beyond food. Obviously, self-care is more than just eating right and feeling pleasure in your food. You need to also have a lot of other aspects in your life that make you feel good and that bring you joy. So you really need to find activities that nourish you beyond the kitchen. So maybe it's starting a new sport with a friend, or a new club, or learning a new hobby, or spending more time doing things that you never have time to do, like reading or like knitting, or listening to music or calling friends. You also need to remember that food can be one way to deal with emotions. That's okay, but it can't be the only way, and it can't be the default way. So the more tools you kind of build up to make you feel better when you're not feeling that great, the better it will be. An actionable step here is to make a list of all of the activities that you love doing, and then kind of like highlight the ones that don't require a lot of like brain power or any kind of like focus, concentration that you can do when you, for instance, would reach for food because you are stressed or tired or nervous, whatever. Instead of reaching for food, do one of these activities. And finally, step 9, you need to foster self-compassion. I say this to my clients all the time. You need to treat yourself as if you were treating a family member or a friend, meaning it's okay to have expectations. It's okay for you to want to be successful in breaking diet culture and getting rid of food guilt and like eating healthier and all those things. However, you cannot have a like bully approach towards yourself, because you are obviously not going to do things perfectly. There's going to be ups and downs, and that's absolutely normal and okay, and you need to understand that. The journey isn't going to be linear, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be worth it and that it's not going to be progress. Action point: affirmations. Write down positive affirmations, things you love about yourself. They can be physical, they can be something else. You can get people to help you with these things if you want, and then you need to repeat them to yourself to just foster that compassion and that love. So that's it for this video. I really hope that it was helpful. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.